Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hey there, I heard my name. And like Pavlov's dog, I just start talking. Yap, 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 yap. Hello, it's Tuesday. It's December 5. And I hope Susan's there. Hi, Susan.
Hi, I am.
Good.
Yeah, I don't know how much help I am. I am, after two housefuls, 2 weekends in a row, I'm pooped.
Yeah, you've had a lot of, I bet you are. So you don't know what's going on and you're a happier person than I.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the case. Well, then let me fill you in a little bit. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, here we go. A Catholic Health Network, which will remain anonymous somewhere in the Midwest of the United States of America, is taking the crucifixes off the walls of its hospitals. And I'm wondering if you would have any idea how a Catholic organization would start removing crucifixes from the walls of their hospital.
No.
Yeah.
The only, I know, unless the hospital, no, I can't think of any reason why they would do that.
No. I agree. Although I am remembering, it puts me in mind of when our great aunt Faye had made her way to Green Bay. Listen to that.
I know.
Our great aunt Faye had made her way to Green Bay.
Boy, you and Taylor Swift, yeah.
Yeah, and ended up in the hospital. Ended up in St. Vincent Hospital. And at St. Vincent Hospital, there were crucifixes on the walls in every
room. Yeah.
And Aunt Faye, being dramatic, had apparently caused a bit of a stir that our mother had to intervene in, because Faye had said to one of the nurses, who was also a nun, would you please get that writhing figure off the wall? I'm in enough pain.
That sounds like Faye.
Yes. And, the nurse, God knows what she did. I don't know. Anyway, a compromise was found. And while Aunt Faye was in residence in St. Vincent's, a drape was put over the writhing figure that she, was directly in her line of sight at, the wall at. Okay, but that doesn't get us any closer.
You mean you really don't know the answer why they're taking the crucifixes off?
No, I do know. I do know. And
the only thing I could think of is that it's in protest of something they're being required to do, and they don't want to associate that with the faith. But
No. It turns out that patients are taking them from the walls and using them as weapons.
No, even me in my twisted mind would not have come up with that. And if it had, I would have been afraid to say it.
Oh
dear. I can sort of get it. Aunt Faye would have done that if she could.
Yeah, if she could have. No, apparently it's it's called Hospital Sisters Health System. And they were very sad in being forced to make this decision because of the, quote, general increase in healthcare workers experiencing workplace violence. What?
Well, I'm not surprised about that. I mean, that all started with the COVID stuff. You know, I still remember the story of the doctor who said he quit after he couldn't convince the now widow of the COVID patient to go see him before he died, and then he had to tell her that no, in fact, he had died, and she responds by punching him in the face and telling him that he killed her husband.
Yeah, no, I mean, hospitals have everything's become less safe. Let's put it that way. But this healthcare system, I mean, can you imagine somebody ripping a crucifix off the wall and like beating somebody up with it? I mean, it's so.
No, anyway. It's the times that I have been in a hospital, I have not had the wherewithal to get the thing off the wall and beat somebody with it. I was
that's
ill
true too. Yeah, right. Anyway, so the sisters, the hospital sisters, health system, say they are hoping to acquire
rubber crucifixes.
Yes, I guess acquire safer.
No, they're going to get Nerf crucifixes.
I don't know, safer. It just says they hope to acquire. Who knew that safer crucifixes that also can be more securely affixed to the walls, like just super glue them to the wall
or paint it,
or paint what?
A crucifix on the wall.
Paint. Yeah, but no, that would take too much work, I think. But I just, when I saw that, what it did is I mean, first of all, it's astonishing. And then it was an excuse to tell the Aunt Faye story because it's so funny.
I delivered both my kids in a Catholic hospital, and I totally relate to Faye.
Yeah,
it was not
thinking about it
to me.
No, that if you're Christian, if you're Catholic, I guess it might be comforting to see, your Lord there. But if you're not, it looks like a man in terrible pain.
And if you're Jewish, it's one of your own that was getting offed,
Yeah, right. So it's just not whatever. But so anyway, there's that. I thought you would like that.
I know it reminds me. There's a meme going around that has a picture of, Jesus blessing some, poor slob on them, but Jesus is wearing a cross.
Well, that don't make no sense.
That's right.
Why would he wear a cross when it was
foreshadowing?
Yeah, well, I remember I'm sure I've told you this. I made a terrible error in that when I was in Israel once, I bought a I brought a cross. I don't think it was a crucifix. I bought a cross, I think, made out of, they said, the same wood that the actual crucifix would have been made out of. I can't remember what that was. And, that was a good selling point if you're in Jerusalem. So I got it to give to a woman who was very religious, who also was cleaning my home every once in a while. And I brought it back and I thought she would just, love it. I gave it to her. She like recoiled. That was a big gift mistake because she was a Jehovah's Witness.
Oh, and that was a graven image.
I don't know what it was. I don't know. I think she explained to me it was something akin to not wanting this to have as a religious symbol that which, I don't know, that violence, that bespoke violence. And I don't remember, but boy, did I, you get schooled. I think so many people make so many mistakes like that. Well-intentioned. I mean, I was totally well-intentioned. I didn't want to,
Well, honestly, it was good of her to explain it to you.
Yeah.
That's how we learn.
I don't know what happened to it. I guess I gave it to a.
Well, you should have kept it in case a vampire rang your doorbell.
Oh, God. Life it's a minefield. Oh, speaking of minefield, Susan, I watched, I wanted something mindless while I attempted a new jigsaw puzzle last night. So I started watching The Crown, the most recent episode. Yeah. That's about, it's about Princess Di and her death. And one of the things that's so mind-blowing is how much the actress...
Really? You are convinced within 30 seconds that that's Di.
Yeah. It's not like, she just looks like her. That's it. And the actor actually playing Fayed looks like him. It's like, wow, you really... it is amazing. But I found I found something that blew me away when I was reading an article about the actress. Do you know how tall she is? The actress.
6'2".
No, you don't. No.
Oh, she's short.
No.
How tall is she?
6'3".
Oh, I wasn't tall enough.
No, she's 6'3". Now, she looks like Diana, but Diana was a tall woman, but she was 5'10".
Right.
6'3". So you have to believe that they had to, if Diana was 6'3", any...
Dodie, who looks really small, is actually 6'1".
Yeah.
Or 6'2".
Yeah, something like that. It's 6'3". Just wanted to tell you that.
Well, when I say that was the role of a lifetime for her, I mean it. There are not going to be all that. I mean, that's a limiting factor for an actress.
6'3", yeah.
Yeah.
Although I guess she's got a big write-up here in the New York Times, and
well, she's very good, and from what I understand, she's suffering from being very good. Is she still in part haunted by the role and
experience?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, she was saying that when they were filming all those scenes where she's in cars and the paparazzi are banging on the windows and this and that, and everywhere she went, she couldn't go anywhere. She was hunted constantly. I mean, a picture of her could make somebody rich. And can you imagine being that hunted? I mean, I can't, I don't, whatever.
No, it always shocks me when I read, all these years later that, that she was 36 when she died.
Yeah.
And I mean, imagine the amount of life that she packed into those. It's just hard to believe.
Yeah. So she was just saying that as an actress, just the physicality of the banging, the noise, the tumult that surrounded her. You're in the car and feeling under attack. And then this is happening to her every time she gets in a car and gets out. And then every time you get out, and then when you finally get into someplace and they close the door and there's relative silence. And the actress said, I mean, in that regard, it was so easy to play because it's
not acting.
Anybody.
Yeah.
No, it affects anybody. Yeah. You immediately are anxious as hell. You're scared. Well, whatever.
No, but see, this is where I think the body is so interesting because it is recording that as a real thing. That's why I reached the conclusion that child actors in anything other than something totally happy and nice is almost child abuse, because I do believe you are It doesn't matter that they know it's make-believe. Their bodies don't know it's make-believe, especially if they're really good actors. So, do you know what I'm saying? The body, it's like...
I know what you're saying, but I think you need to, because I think you've said this to me before, and I think it's an interesting thought that you say, like a child being put in a movie, let's say a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old, put in a movie that is frightening, that is scary, or in which some traumatic thing happens. You're saying that that's akin to child abuse because the child at this point can't really comprehend it, but the child's body.
No. I'm saying the child might be able to comprehend that it's make-believe, but their body might not. And I agree with you. It's extrapolation from the simple fact that if we go ha 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 ha, we convince our brains we're happy.
That's right. And it's why people who get enough Botox are not as happy as they used to be, because
the cues that the body writes memory with are distorted.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. This is what you would call bullshit. It's just my fear. And when an actress, as an adult, says she's carrying this around with her still, I'm thinking it's because the memory is writ in her very bones.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's an interesting thought. I don't know if it's right or if it's wrong, but yeah. And speaking of anxiety, there's all this stuff out. There's reports out left, right, and center that Americans are more anxious than they've ever been.
Oh, gee, I wonder why that is.
Yeah, exactly. So that is exactly what anybody who says, yeah, duh.
I mean, we only had 2 mass shootings last weekend. Why should anybody be anxious?
Well, it's just the anxiety. So anyway, there are reports about this increased anxiety among adults, among children, among everybody. And there are, commissions being formed trying to deal with the mental health of Americans. And I've been quoting him a lot lately, but Robert Reich says, look, I'm not against more mental health care because God knows we need it, but Americans are anxious. That is the fact of that. It makes sense. That it is a symptom of a societal sickness. You can't take society and put it on a psychoanalytic couch. And he says that there's absolute reason that as a sort of right now failing country, that people would be anxious. Americans, he just starts listing the ways Americans experience the least economic security of any people in any advanced nation. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
In other words, any human living in another, another advanced nation, because we are not in many ways, are more economically secure. But that's because they have a government with a safety net. We have a safety net with so many holes in it, it's ridiculous. A safety net in which if somebody gets, ill, it can bankrupt them. That doesn't happen in a civilized country. Also, the distribution, a healthy society would ensure that no one working full time is poor. A healthy society would insist that the people with all the money help pay for what all the people who don't have all the money need. And then you bring in the guns and the assault weapons. That is not indicative of a healthy society. We don't have affordable medical care. That's not indicative. And
we don't even have a reliable. We don't even have a reliable source of pharmaceuticals, such that there are shortages of everything from chemotherapy drugs to lorazepam, which apparently is overdiagnosed because everybody's too anxious.
Yeah.
So now you can't even get the drug to treat the anxiety.
And we were talking yesterday about how big money has corrupted, all the rich have bought, the politicians, and in a healthy society, there would be laws preventing the rich from buying politicians so easily. But Rice says, the anxiety disorders that are suffered by Americans are very, very real, and they are growing. But we'd be wise to regard them as more than personal disorders. We need to look at them as symptoms of social disorder. And if we want to fix something, fix our society, our government.
Yeah, fix the very real source of the anxiety.
Exactly. So another big part of anxiety is, of course, the possible ascension, yet again, of Donald Trump, who I'm at least glad that media is finally just saying. I mean, if I read one more piece about, how he'll destroy democracy and he's saying it directly and all this kind of stuff, but it might be a little late for all of these journalists to have finally gotten the nerve to say what they were fearing. You know what I mean?
They've already, that we've created and empowered this minority mob.
Yeah. And so there is this list of just some of what he has been saying about the year we're heading into, 2024. And if you, I gotta take a Xanax. I'm getting anxious just as at the lead up. Okay, well, but people need to, it's not like he's being subtle. What's the most terrifying thing to me is that a man who says these things, a man who has the record he has, criminal and otherwise, that this man could be the choice of potentially the majority or enough, given the Electoral College, of our fellow Americans. The scary part is our fellow Americans.
Yes.
So here is some of what their God, their cult figure, has said. 2024 is the final battle. We don't win. I believe our country is doomed. Then, if we don't stop them this time, I think that's the end. I really do. And then he says this is so bizarre, the projection, the craziness. Our beloved nation is teetering on the edge of tyranny. How mind-blowing.
I know, it's just amazing what he says.
Nauseatingly. Because he is the tyrant.
Right.
He is the would-be tyrant. And he's everything that is... Either we surrender to the demonic forces happily abolishing our country. Either the deep state destroys America or we destroy the deep state. That's the government, by the way. I remember when I started hearing that.
Who's the deep
what
state?
The hell's the deep state? And then I realized, my God, they're talking about the government. So there it is, just right out there. Unless we destroy the government of the United States. Oh my God. I will prevent World War III. And without me, it will happen. And this won't be a conventional war. Army tanks going back and forth shooting each other. This will be nuclear war. This will be obliteration, perhaps obliteration of the entire world. That anyone would vote for this man scares the hell out of me. More than the man. Jesus.
Well, it's why it doesn't matter what he says, or that he says one thing one day and another thing. That they resonate with the dystopia because it's it's how they walk around feeling. And every time they charge him with something new, it's like it's happening to them.
Right. Here's something he said recently. Biden has gone mad. He's a stark raving lunatic. Objection. Biden is the most corrupt president in American history. It's not even close. I'm laughing, but I'm just, scared. It's unfriggin' believable. Oh, and here's one. I didn't know he was doing this a lot, but this brings in the racial element that he also knows about.
Oh yeah, he's now for Black Lives Matter or something.
No, not that, because even the Black Lives Matter people are saying, what? Okay. And instead of keeping terrorists and terrorist sympathizers out of America, the Biden administration is inviting them in. You know why?
Why?
Because he's got a boss. And who's his boss? Barack Hussein Obama. I have to stay around and fight off the crazed radical left, the lunatics, the commies, the Marxists and fascists, this country destroying scum. They're flooding your towns with drugs, selling your jobs to China, mutilating your children. They're mutilating your children. This is him talking about Democrats.
Yeah, it would seem to me like that all those guys with AK-57s or what they are shooting up schools, those would be the guys that are mutilating our children. And there are guys out there mutilating our children, make no mistake about it. But it ain't the Democrats.
Oh, my God. I don't know. So there you have it. I mean, I'm literally scrolling through page after page of what this guy has been saying, and if you were to read everyone, you would just become sick.
Well, it was interesting that it was reported that the Fox News anchor broke away from a campaign speech to correct all the untruths.
A Fox anchor did, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, President Xi, smart, top of his game. President Putin, smart. Very, very smart people.
It's amazing.
Xi, he's strong as granite. He's strong. I know him very well. And I get along with Putin. That's a good thing. And then the strongest leaders, Viktor Orban from Hungary, the very strong man, very strong, powerful man, and one of the most respected leaders in the world. He's tough. What is the emotional level in this man? Where it is just mind-boggling. Okay, we'll get off that. But
I think we should talk football. Did you watch that Packer game?
Yeah, I did. But you don't want to you don't want to cavil too much.
No. I don't even like football. I don't even like football. That was an entertaining game.
It was a great game, but here in Pittsburgh, the football fans are so miserable right now that I find out there are happy football fans anywhere else, especially since the Steelers last won, I think, against Green Bay. They beat the Packers, the game I went to.
Yeah, and they should feel good about themselves.
Yeah. And the Packers haven't lost since. So, I don't know. So Green Bay must have been like all agog because Taylor Swift was there, and of course Simone Biles was there because her husband's a Packer. But they're rooting for, although those two amazingly successful women were rooting for different sides.
But the only one that got introduced before the game was Tony, as they say in Green Bay, Tony Shalhoub.
He was introduced before. Why was he introduced before the game?
Well, because the other two are sort of, I think it's verboten to point out players' wives or girlfriends. They wouldn't do that no matter who they are. But what they would do is Tony's a Green Bay, famous actor, and he came in town to see the game, and they introduced him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and we did find out when we were in Green Bay at Thanksgiving, because all of a sudden we were talking to someone we know, and it occurred to me, he went to the same high school Susan and I did. It occurred to me he would be about the age of Tony Shalhoub, the actor. And I said, "Hey, Martin, did you know Tony Shalhoub? Because you would have gone to East at the same time." He said, "Oh, you mean Tony Shalhoub?" And that's when we found out that when he was here in Green Bay, I'm not in Green Bay, am I? When he was in Green Bay, that's how he pronounced his name, Shalhoub.
Mm-hmm.
And the Shalhoub, I guess, came from his agent or whatever. When his
agent or his deciding to pronounce his name the way it's supposed to be pronounced. I was talking to our mother about this last night because it brought to mind Americans' unwillingness to learn how to pronounce foreign names.
Yeah.
To the extent that people of Indian descent frequently just shorten their names because Americans look at it and their eyes cross and they walk away.
Well, that is true.
And it's, it's just haughty disrespect of Americans that anybody should be expected to learn how to pronounce somebody else's name. So I think what happened is they came here and people started pronouncing it Shalhoub, and they, being recent immigrants, did not correct anybody.
No, yeah, right. I think that might be the case, right? Oh, great quote from...
although, wait a minute. I'm going to give a counter-argument. In Green Bay East, Shalhoub makes a whole lot more sense than Shalhoub.
Yeah, Shalhoub. I don't know. Who the hell knows? Anyway, so he was introduced as Tony Shalhoub.
Oh, yes, of course.
And the crowd yelled back, "You mean Shalhoub?"
Hey, Shalhoub.
Okay, so here's a quote from Adam Kinzinger, the no longer congressman.
Yeah, erstwhile Illinois congressman, because he was a moderate Republican.
Because he voted against Donald Trump and voted to impeach Donald Trump, and has lifetime security now at his own expense, I believe. Anyway, after the Republicans expelled George Santos, Kissinger said this: it seems telling. A liar, a fraud, money launderer, indicted, hanger-oner, expelled from Congress. While a liar, fraud, money launderer, indicted, hanger on her is leading the GOP race for president. This conundrum is not a conundrum at all. In fact, it's a feature of today's GOP. He's saying the Republican Party today, I mean, Santos was a mini Trump in that respect.
Right.
He was a liar, a fraud, a money launderer, indicted, soon to be a convict. Yeah.
And Mary Magdalene to boot.
And Mary Magdalene to boot. And, well, you can, I mean, they'll be making fun of him for the rest of his life. So, you know, Fetterman did something weird. I guess Santos got himself on this thing called, what is it called? Where you can pay a celebrity to make a video for you. Do you know that I forget what it's called.
OnlyFans?
No, it's not OnlyFans. I forget what it's called. Somebody help me. There's something where, anyway, so he's immediately on that, making money where he can make money. I guess for $200, he'll, cut you a minute thing. Well, Fetterman, I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Cameo. That's it. Thank you, Kevin. That's my producer in my ear. Cameo, it's called. And so Fetterman, with his, the money he has in his campaign war chest, he pays Santos. He gets in touch with Santos and says he wants him to say something, I guess, trolling Senator Robert Menendez, who Fetterman thinks should resign from the Senate.
I don't know.
I know. No, so Santos
for a depressed SOB, Fetterman's pretty funny.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Yeah, he ain't depressed anymore. He's having fun. But here's what I want to say. My reaction to it was, here's me being, a grumpy adult, I guess. Because I don't
encourage him. Why would you give him money?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, first of all, yeah. I think anyone who gave Fetterman money would not be happy knowing it's now in Santos's pocket. And for the sort of juvenile thing of using social media to troll a senator, I'm sure it plays well with the younger crowd, but it is again indicative of a kind of juvenilia and a kind of performative politics that we're in now. And Fetterman is good at it, unlike a lot of people on our side. He's good at this performative crap. But part of me finds it
unworthy of the role.
Yeah, somehow I just as soon have the more sober folk back. I don't know. I'm not wild about it. I'm happy he's happy enough to be having fun.
Right.
I'm happy for him. But and we'll only get more of this kind of thing from him because he is so good at it. He and his wife. But I don't know. Not wild about it myself. Okay, so Suze, I saved this stuff for you because I saved the horror really mostly. You have no idea how much I'm protecting.
I appreciate it. I truly do. Thank you.
Yeah,
you're very kind.
All right. Yeah. So you must have seen this. Oh, maybe not because you've been so busy. But in the Sunday New York Times, in the style section, there's a column that I really like, social cues. I believe you like that.
I do. I enjoy social cues.
Okay. This is sort of like a, Dear Abby kind of thing. People write in with their problems and want advice. And I was so stunned by the one from this Sunday. Can I share this with you?
Certainly.
It's indicative of everything I worry about today's parents. Okay, although this is extreme. A few years ago, we gave our daughter, now 18, so she was 16, now 18, a stuffed bear for her birthday. I have to admit, I stopped right there. I said,
"You gave her a what?"
What? That's what I thought. What?
I mean, let me tell you what my daughter would have done if that's what she got for her 16th.
Well, I mean, I would say, well, thank you, and then wondered what the hell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they did. They gave her a stuffed bear for her 16th birthday. And wait, the plot thickens. At the time, we had recently discovered she had a boyfriend whom she was hiding from us. It was quite a shock. We wanted to be able to keep a closer eye on what she was doing without breaking her trust. So we installed a hidden camera inside the eye of the stuffed bear.
I mean, it's just so effing creepy, you can't even believe it.
Oh, my God. They wanted to keep an eye on her without
breaching her trust.
What the hell?
And one wonders why the boyfriend was hidden. It doesn't matter.
Oh, my God. So, geez. And then it says, our daughter is now in college, and we overheard her telling her roommate how grateful she was for our trust in her. We have been racked with guilt ever since. How can we tell our daughter about the camera without destroying our relationship with her? Or should we tell her at all? And I wondering, what kind of parents are these? What kind of frigging idiots?
Well, that was pretty much the reaction of everybody, including Philip there.
Well, yeah, he was appalled. But he also said, you got to tell her. I think he said that you have to tell her. Which, if I were the daughter, would be the end of it.
Would be the end of the relationship. You did what? You've been watching me how? You've been spying on me?
I would tell him just to swallow whatever guilt.
Yeah, don't put your
forward.
Crap on her.
Yeah,
a lot but you see, I get this a different way on the previous Wednesday, which is the only reason that I had read it, because I was reading on Wednesday, and the commenters to this are, we think that the only that she discovered that camera and was purposefully in her parents' hearing saying how much she trusted them.
No, I don't think
because she'd found the camera.
No, I don't think that's true. And then this goes along with, I read a piece in the Atlantic months ago about how affluent parents, they actually were zeroing in on affluent suburbs in Chicago, Susan. And this guy, this parent said he tracks his sons and daughters' locations on their phones. And even when they went away to college, he's still tracking his kids on their phone.
Well, all they have to do is turn that off.
Well, the Find My Friends tracking app, I don't know, but parents do this. I mean, and they look at their, I can't imagine not, I can't imagine.
I would, in parents' defense, in a city like Chicago, where there are many different kinds of transportation, and parents might be Ubering kids to and from someplace. They have that on their phone so that they know that the kid got to where they're going appropriately, timely, and safely. And it truly is a security message, a security thing.
Again,
but tracking your kids all the time, no.
Well, but see, once you start, it says it starts early with apps like Class Dojo, which allow daycare and elementary school teachers to document every moment of the school day. And then in the older grades, parents are encouraged to actively monitor their grades, their test scores. And it just seems that the parents are just so much in their kids' lives. It makes me insane. So that you can see why you'd end up giving a 16-year-old a teddy bear with a camera in its eye. Because you can't bear the fact that you don't know something about your own child. Big friggin' deal. You don't. It's
more about control than it is. It's. And if they're linking it to affluence, then it must be thinking that if you're at a certain point you cross a line and just think you have a right to be in total control of everything in your orbit.
Yeah. I mean, it's and for teenagers. I mean, adolescence. This is when a young person is trying, God, and it's so hard to develop some sense of who they are and start pushing back at their parents, wanting, their own, finding themselves, not as a child. And it's a difficult process for everybody, but
I'm just thinking of this yesterday with my 2.5-year-old granddaughter, who was sitting happily at our mother's computer, typing away and informing me solemnly that she was working. And when I came to see what was happening on the computer, she looked at me sternly and said, "Nana, I need my good space." So I backed off. Powerful kid.
Yeah. Anyway, this is written by some psychologist who says that parents who choose not to geo-track their children or read their teenagers' texts are fostering a two-way trust. They are allowing their children to make their own mistakes.
Which is how you grow up and learn.
Yeah. And he goes on to say, equipping our kids with good judgment and letting them experience the consequences of messing up without trying to get in front of every mistake. This is what parents do. That could be. How are they ever supposed to learn if you're running interference for them all the time?
And then what?
Let them fail.
And then you don't understand why they can't go away to school or get a job and function without you sitting on their arm.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, God. All right.
Well, it's scary to be a parent because that is the hardest thing to do, to loosen the strings, to give the kid a chance to fall.
That's right. But it's what a good parent does. These hovering lunatic parents.
Yeah, I mean, 15 years ago or 20 years ago, we were screaming about helicopter parents. We had no idea of the kind of drones that would follow.
Oh, my God. Feel for the kids. You just feel for them. What else I got here? Nope. Oh my God, this upset me. The lunatic that was the Trumpian lunatic who was elected the president of Argentina.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was waiting for a narrowing aspect.
Yeah.
Because, the Trumpian idiot was getting me nowhere.
No, because there's so many. They're proliferating and they're following his lead. Because it turns out it's not just Americans that are susceptible to this falling for these horrible humans, but people all over the world. What is with people? Anyway, Susan, I hate to tell you this. I really do. Like, Jews don't have enough trouble right now.
No.
What? You won't believe what I'm about to say.
I hope not.
Why? What are you thinking?
That he's Jewish?
No!
Okay.
Phew.
Yeah, God, that was the worst that I could think. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, well, it might be worse.
Oh, no.
He's planning on becoming Jewish.
Not a Jesus 4?
Now, I don't know what the hell. First of all, it says here that he flew to the United States this week, and his first stop was a Jewish cemetery in Queens, where he put on a yarmulke and visited the tomb of Menachem Mendelssohn.
Yeah, the chief rabbi.
Yeah, the Lubavitch leader who some thought was the Messiah. And he prayed there with a bunch of Orthodox Jews.
Well, but
no. Raised Catholic. He has been studying the Torah.
I think it makes perfect sense. First of all, he's aligning with the branch of Judaism that has that tendency. And second of all, you and I have discussed this. The Old Testament God works better for
for authoritarians, because he was scary, and and
not so much turn the other cheek. The Old Testament God smites you right and left.
Right, you obey me or you're dead. That's the Old Testament God. That's what Jews have to deal with. Yeah, so I can see maybe. Yeah. It's why Jesus was such a, people said, oh, I think I like this one better.
His son turned out a little better.
Yeah, he's not quite as, scary.
As the victim of the abuse, he's far more gentle.
Yeah. But, I mean, is there a way, since we Jews are supposed to meet up and, plot the ends of the world all the time, could we have a meeting and to stop this before it happens? I don't want this guy as a Jew. It's all we need. Got enough trouble.
Yeah, well, not our call. And my guess is the all the chief rabbis in Israel would be happy to have him.
Oh, yeah. Well, that might be true, too. Indeed. Okay, here's another silly thing. God bless The Week magazine for giving me these silly things that I would miss. I must be reading the wrong stuff. There is a horrible person named Jim Irsay. That name might ring a little bell. It's a football name. He was the head of the president or owner. He was the owner of the Colts.
Okay.
Isn't he the one? Wait a minute. Irsay. Now I'm getting the thing. I think he was the one who, in the dead of night, spirited his team out of Baltimore.
Yeah, that is who it was.
And put them in Indianapolis. Is he the one? Irsay. I think he was.
Yeah.
Anyway, a bigger jerk, well, there's plenty of them, but he's up there. And he's a billionaire, of course. And there is this quote from him that is so mind-blowing to me. He got arrested for drunk driving in 2014, so 10 years ago. And he must have been doing some kind of an interview, and it came up. And he said this, that he was targeted because of racial and economic profiling. I know you don't comprehend that.
I have
He actually was saying that the cops were profiling white, rich guy.
That's not how that usually works.
No, I don't think so. And he actually went on, this is a direct quote, I am prejudiced against. First of all, I do not think that's a proper locution.
No, oh, you mean he is prejudiced against? Oh, I was waiting for what he was prejudiced against.
No, he is saying the cops were prejudiced.
Had a bias against him, is what he's trying to say.
But he said, so this genius, billionaire, right, can't even speak English. He says this, I am prejudiced against because I'm a rich white billionaire.
Well, that happens to be also redundant because I don't know many poor billionaires.
That is correct. And he says, if I'm just the average guy down the block, they're not pulling me over. What?
Well, yes, of course they are.
Jeez, what kind? I mean,
what, they targeted his Bentley or his Rolls? How do they?
Right. I can't imagine.
How do they spot a billionaire like that?
Oh. Okay, and Sue, this is nothing you're going to be interested in, but this is as long as we're sort of on the sports section now. I just want to note that a guy who I just adored and actually had a crush on, I have to admit, has been voted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, and his name is Jim Leland, and he was the manager here for the Pirates back in the day. I just adored this guy. I adored him. And the New York Times did a piece on why it made so much sense to have him there. And I just want to share this with the audience at a time when Pittsburgh sports is not exactly, what we like to think it always is, which is, winning. It says he's heading to Cooperstown because he was so good at his job that even the players and managers he once beat knew they were losing to one of the greats. And the people who made up the committee that decided who was in are people who he regularly, they were managers as well back in the day, and he beat them. And so they were up against him all the time and had a real appreciation. And the Times says for more than 2 decades, it was pretty much impossible to have a who's in the best manager in baseball conversation and not have Leland's name come up. On top of it, for a manager, he never got fired, which is saying something. And he won 700 plus games with 2 teams, which only 4 other managers in the history of the sport have done. And that was with the Pirates and then with the Tigers. And I just got to say, I did. I remember admitting to the sports guys, I said, I just love him. And that was before he got married. I was sort of like, trying to maneuver my way into maybe meeting him or something. And then, he up and married. She worked there. I think she worked for the Pirates. Anyway, it's turned out very well, and I'm very happy for them both. So there.
Well, good.
That's that.
I'm thrilled for your past crush.
I am too. Nice guy. Truly nice guy. Okay, that's it. That's it, actually.
Oh, it is. Oh.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. We're done. So thanks, Suze. Are you heading back to Illinois?
I am. I'm gonna pack and head out.
Okay. Well, have a good one. Safe trip.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And okay, you guys, I'll talk at you again tomorrow, I hope. Keep those emails coming in. Man, if every day another 4 or 5 of you don't dribble in. Come on. Lynn Cullen Show at gmail.com. Please. Bye-bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.